Hey, everybody, how we doing? It is Friday. What a wonderful day it's been so far, dealing with all the support problems. Oh gosh, if you're coming and seeing us from Facebook right now, my apologies for all the trouble on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. Facebook took a huge dive, and all of a sudden things just went kind of caca. So it happens, right? So anyway, hey, how's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a great one. My audio is low and buried in reverb. That's an interesting one. How about now? How about now? Does that sound a little better? I can't actually hear my audio, so I have to rely on everybody else to let me know what's going on. So let me know how the audio is coming in now, and we will start from there. So in any case, welcome to today's live stream event. Yep, the reverb's gone. Okay, you know what the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is later. But that was a fun time. Welcome to today's live stream event, where I am going to be taking you through okay, I'll pump that volume up just a little bit more and see what happens there. Okay, here we go. I got something for you. Right, there we go. Okay, back to our scheduled program here. Today we're going to take you through not one, not two, but three products here at NUX, because we had three brand new products shipped this week. They just arrived. We showed them at NAMM a couple months ago, and everybody has been waiting to see what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And well, that time is today. And this is just the beginning of several new products that will be coming today. And I even have some crafty new tips and tricks here, some little tricks. So if you have questions, I'll move over here. Just go ahead and type them in, and I will try to answer them as quickly as I can. This is, let's see. Well, Chris, I'll try to do what I can with the volume. I literally have got this thing cranked pretty much as hard as it's going to go. So bear with me one second here. Let's see what I can do. Okay, I think I can do something here. Hold on one second. There, that's probably a little better. Well, that's a lot better. Whoa, baby. All right. Trying to get that volume under control. Give me a shout out. Let me know how it sounds now, Chris, so we can continue on with the show here. How about it? How about now? Okay, sounds much better. All right. I made a little, for those of you who wanted to know what I just did, I made a little adjustment here to the B10 vlog that I'm using for my live stream event. And it's all good. Hey, I see Slippery Fish is here. How you doing there? For all of you out there, give me a shout out. Let me know if you're around. Say hi. So it's so Chris and I have people to talk to, because Chris is on one channel and I'm on the other, and we're just hanging out here. Well, let's just show you what we're going to be working with today. So today I have the brand new MightyLite BT Mark II down here at the bottom. And I'm going to be using it. Whoop, topped over there a little bit. We are a little teetering for a reason. Don't worry, everybody. I'm using the C5 RC for today's demonstration, so that we can go wireless. So not only am I using wireless here for my microphone, I'm using wireless for the guitar, and all that great stuff. And then later, I'll be showing you guys the 65 Overdrive and the hook. Now, a lot of people have asked questions about all those products, and well, I want to help you guys get to know these a little better, because It's a lot of fun to work with. And so as we get through this, you know, and people ask questions and all that, so keep the questions coming. What I'll be able to do is just bring you up and call and give you a chat out there. So Slippery Fish, I can see you there. Wah! You have the NUX looper pedal. It's amazing. I'm really glad you like it. I like it too. And we're going to be showing how to do it with the Hook, which is our new mini looper. It replaces the JTC Pro, or I'm sorry, the JTC Mini, not the JTC Pro. That one's still around, but it has all those great features. So it detects the tempo of what you're playing, and then it matches the drum to the playback, which is fantastic. Same thing goes, and the hey there, what's going on there? Bass Welton. Okay, I can now see everybody on the screen there, and yes, I can see you down here as well. But sometimes it's a little easier for me to look right up there on my large monitor up there. But just keep the comments coming over here. I will definitely see them and call them out. So the 65 Overdrive, you'll see in a few minutes, probably in about half an hour. It is an emulation of a Fender Black Panel. And it is just amazing. So it doesn't matter if you play with single coils or you play with humbuckers or anything like that. It all sounds good. So without further ado, let's get into the amp. So let me go ahead and bring the floor camera up here. You can see now that I'm doing all these neat little transitions. What do you guys think about that? Doesn't it look kind of cool? It's all kinds of fun. I even have emojis. So if you use an emoji and you pop it into your chat there on YouTube, it should show up and pop and everything. So we did all kinds of stuff. Hey Doug, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right. Oh, that's strange. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, okay, so here is the brand new MightyLite BT Mark II. It looks remarkably different from the original version, right? Nope. It's pretty much the same exact looking product. But that is where the similarities end between the two, because we've done a massive overhaul on the DSP inside of the MightyLite BT Mark II, and it is more in line with the Mighty Space and more in line with the Mighty Plug Pro. So it has those signal blocks. Unfortunately, in this case, you can't move them around, but still, you still get all those amps, you get those cabinets, you get those effects, you get all the great stuff, you get the jam tracks and everything, and I'll take you through everything all the way through here. So let me go ahead and flip this up top so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so let me just, I'll take it out here for a second. And there's other things that we've talked about too. I see there's some questions. There's a question about the Mighty Space. I will absolutely answer your question in due time, so bear with me, everybody. So let's take you through the interface of the MightyLite BT Mark II. Okay, so it functions pretty much exactly like the original version did. So it is a portable desktop amplifier, meaning that you can use it with the included power supply that comes with it, or you can make use of 6 AA batteries. And you can take it portable for up to, I believe, 6 to 8 hours, depending on what kind of batteries you use. It is an amplifier that expands, and it's not just for the electric guitarist. So if you're one of those guys out there that plays bass and says, hey, I'd love to have a little practice amp, well, here you go. Because the MightyLite BT Mark II is great for electric guitars, it's great for acoustic guitars, and it's great for bass guitars as well, because we have amps for each one of those type of instruments. So we have electric guitar amps and cabinets, we have acoustic guitar amps, and we also have impulse responses built in, and we also round it out with bass amps and cabinets as well. So we really do give you everything for a very small price, frankly. And it is USB-C as well. And I'll show you what that's all about in a few too, because I've got it all booted up here, and I've even got it with the groovy little app. We're all set up there. We can do all of it in real time. It's fantastic. Okay, but going over the interface here. So we have the input, we have our gain, volume, tone, and then we have a knob called reverb delay. Now the reverb delay works in conjunction with the LED button up here at the top, and I'll get to that in a second. Now further to the right, we have the output, the headphone output. So I am using that today. so that we can get a nice, good direct sound. And we also have an auxiliary input here in the back. So if you want to hook in an MP3 player, or you want to hardwire in something to the MightyLite BT Mark II, no problem. To the top here, we have the presets. So we have 7 presets, and that's just like you'd find with the Mighty Space, the Mighty Plug Pro, and other amps that are coming down the road. Because if you were at NAMM, you saw that we had a MightyLite BT Mark II. In fact, I've got one sitting back there, pre-production unit. Not quite ready for us to show yet on a live stream, but it is coming very, very soon. And so looking at the top here for the presets, we can scroll through the presets by making use of the button there. And you can also do the same here. You can see that that's changing along with the app as well. So I will absolutely show you the app in a few minutes, but I want to just show you the analog side of things first with this. So in addition to that, to the right of that, we have the Bluetooth indicator. So if you need to repair the MightyLite with your iPhone or Android or whatever you're using, not a problem. Just press and hold, and you can turns it to discoverable mode, and then you can go right ahead and figure it out. Okay, so that's if you press and hold the preset button. Now to the right of that, we have the drum controls. So we can turn the drums on, which you can't hear anything yet, or actually you can. Yeah, you can. I did set up an audio channel there. Oh, and you see I got a neat little VU meter going there on the right. What do you think about that? I wanted to go all out when I did this sort of recasting of the interface here, just to have a little fun. Okay, so we have the drum stop and start button. We also have the volume knob, so I can change the volume so we can get really loud. And we'll delve into that with the app in a minute and show you what that's all about. Now further to the, actually, let me see here. Oh, you know what? I see something that's wrong here. There we go. All right. You know, I just noticed something there. I had that channel, I had my voice channel slightly panned to the left. So if you thought that's why it was sounding a little weak overall, that's probably one of the contributing factors. Okay, so hey there, Beacon. What's going on, buddy? Hi there from Ireland. Hello from Redondo Beach, California. How are you doing? Okay, so to the right of that, we have the we have the button for tap tempo. And we have the button for, oh, and also this has a tap tempo as well. So the drum machine does have tap tempo built in here. So if we get the drum machine going and we want to change the tempo, just press it in succession and you can change the tempo, no problem. To the right of that though, this is the button that corresponds to the knob below. Okay, so here we have the tap tempo for the delay. So we can change that by just pressing it in succession. And then you can use the knob to adjust you can use the knob to adjust the mix of the delay, or what you can also do is you can press and hold, and you can see it that the LED now turns kind of red. Well, it's kind of hard to see because of the way that we've got the camera pointed here and the lighting and everything. But this is kind of a purple magenta sort of idea. So when you have that on, you can then use that to change the level of the reverb. So you could toggle between delay and reverb from this button and this knob. So it's very handy. And then on the back, we have a USB-C port. And that's going to come in handy in a few minutes because I'm going to show you the editor. Because yes, there's an editor inside of the MightyLite BT Mark II. So you can now use this little $99 amp for recording. You can use it for reamping. You can use it for IR loading. All of that stuff, you just do it right there on the editor. I mean, how cool is that, right? It's pretty awesome if you ask me. But again, it's a beautiful time we live in. You know, actually, just a quick side story. So years and years and years ago, when I was a category manager for a chain store, of course that was Guitar Center back then, I was looking at, and this is, keep in mind, this is like 2008 around then, so it was a while ago now at this point. I was looking at these little desktop amps and I said, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a USB port on the back of this thing, you can just use it for recording? And it never came to fruition with any of the major companies. And I pitched that to everybody, like Digidesign, before they were called Avid, a whole bunch of other companies like that absolutely had the technology and could have done that, but they never did. And so now we get to rake in on that idea. And so it just occurred to me the other day, I was like, this is exactly the idea I was pitching to those guys, and now, hey, boop, boop, we got it. So back to the back here. Okay, so actually we don't actually need to see anything in the back there, because I mean, hey, we've all seen a USB-C port, right? So not a big deal. But I'll go ahead and bring the amp back up here. So I've got it kind of like teetering a little bit, so that's why I'm being a bit gingerly with it. But that's just one part of the story here. The other part of the story, of course, and we haven't even played a note yet, is the editor. Okay, so from my trusty dusty phone here, I can do all kinds of things. Like I can change the presets. I can select the various signal blocks. All that, I want to talk about that in a minute. But let's go ahead and actually just start by actually checking out what the amp sounds like. So what we need to do is turn on our C5RC here. So there we go. That's what I was looking for. So I'm using the C5RC as my wireless rig here today, because I thought it might be fun to just go ahead and do it with that. And I'm going to go ahead and just pop that sucker on here. And I am going to move that a little bit over to the side so that it doesn't get in the way. Here we go. So it doesn't get in the way of the camera there, so we can see everything. And then don't forget to mute it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before, but the C5RC is a really great wireless solution because it's meant for 5.8 gigahertz, so it's a less crowded bandwidth. It works with active and passive pickups, and it's just an incredible piece of gear, and you can use it for hours and hours and hours, and it comes in this groovy little rechargeable battery case that I think is pretty awesome. And it's got that mute switch. So now, yeah, we should hear it. So, okay. Allegedly, we are also in tune. Let me throw on the headphones here so I can have a look-see. Okay. How's that sound? Okay, we're going to be a little careful about the volume levels. Bear with me, everybody. Can you guys hear it okay? Can you give me a shout there, Chris? Let me know. Can everybody hear it? Can you guys hear it? Give me a quick shout out and let me know if you can hear it. Yep, okay, great. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch gears here, and we'll move over to the oh, you see how the little emoji thing just popped up there on the screen? Isn't that cool? So if you put emojis in on any of the chat on Facebook here, or on YouTube, it'll show up as a little burst of emojis on the screen. So I wanted to kind of jazz it up a little bit. All right, now we're using a very vanilla flavor of tone here. So let me just go ahead and take you through the app itself. Okay, so we have the 7 presets. So this is more of a kind of smoke 'em if you got 'em sort of sound. Chris, you're asking a whole bunch of questions that are really great, and I absolutely will answer those. So that's preset 2. Here's preset 3. This is more based on a dual rectifier. Yeah, you definitely don't want to hear me play Metallica. I haven't played that since I was about 18. Okay, we also have preset 4, and these are the included presets, by the way, right off the bat. Preset 5 there. Sorry, having a little brain fart here on a Friday. So that's a Fender Super Reverb. Then we have a bass preset, which I'm not playing bass. But then we also have the last one here, which is the Stage Man. And so this is an acoustic one. I hear some chords are sounding better than others. All right, so that's based on a Stage Man. Now, if we go to the impulse response, that is based on a Martin D45, and I'll show you what that's all about. Wow, okay, something's going on there with the app. How about that? It is not behaving itself. Let me see if I can get it to come back alive here. Hold on, everybody. Hold on, everybody. Hold on, everybody. Oh, there you are, you crafty little thing, you. Okay, how about... There we go. All right, everything's coming back now. So you guys know, I am... so the setup, just so you guys know what it is here, I'm actually using 3 ways of inputting what I'm showing here. So the audio, I'm taking a direct feed from the headphone output on the amplifier, and it's a stereo output, yes. Okay, I also have the USB plugged in because I do have, in fact, the desktop editor all set to go here. So I can show you the desktop editor, and I also have Bluetooth going into it so I can show you the editor itself on the app on your phone. So that being said, sometimes there's going to be a little bit of quirkiness as we go through it, but just to let you know, that comes with pushing the envelope, as they say. So let's do this. Okay, let's talk about the app. So the app for the phone. So everything I'm going to show you here is completely 100% reproducible on a iOS device or on an Android device. It's exactly the same. And I can hear a little bit of boop. There we go. Okay, a little bit of funny business going on there with the microphone. I'm going to mute the guitar here for a second because that might be part of the problem. Anyway, let's get back to it. So going from the... Hello, Mr. Microphone. Please don't crap out on me right now. That would be a bad thing. Okay, it's probably because it's right on top of the microphone is right on top of the phone here. And sometimes that can cause a little bit of funny stuff. But anyway, okay, let's start with the navigation of the app, okay? So if you want to go through the presets, you can simply use the preset buttons on the top of the interface. See, like now it's actually not showing up again. We might have to, oh, did it come back? Okay, there it is. All right, so you can go through and you can scroll through there's a delay. I see what's going on here. All right. There it is. Okay, so we just can't blah, 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 blah. We can't machine gun through it. But what we can do here is go through the different presets, either by using the app itself, or you can use the amp just by simply pressing the buttons. You can toggle to the various presets. It's not doing it though for some reason, so we may have to give up on this idea. I'm not sure if it's because I'm asking the app to do too much at the same time here, or maybe OBS is just not behaving itself with me today. Bear with me, everybody. Bear with me. If we have to, we might have to just switch over to the other just the desktop app to get things going here, which it's looking like we might have to, but let's see. Maybe we can get it to go. There it is. Okay, so we'll just try to bear with it as fast as we can. So at the top of the screen, you've got your presets, so you can toggle through your presets either by using the preset buttons on the app itself, or you can use the that's weird. Okay, we'll just try this first, and then I'll reconnect and see what happens there. Okay, so we can go through it this way, or we can simply use the button on the amp. And the USB, yeah, that's very true. It might be, they might be fighting each other. I'm not sure yet, Chris. To the right of that, or the left of that, we have the share button. So you can share your presets. Now, this is something that somebody called and asked about, or wrote and asked about on one of our channels, is said, why do you only have 7 presets? Well, actually you don't. I mean, yes, you do have 7 presets specifically to work with, but the thing to keep in mind is that those presets can be expanded upon, because you can save and save and save presets and just create QR codes of all of those. And then you can call them up at any time you want. There's really no reason to limit yourself to just 7. Although 7's a lot of presets to play with when we're talking about a little form factor like this, because if you look at the other amps that are out there that are kind of like this, nobody really does that. So the fact that we give you those 7 presets is pretty cool, actually. Okay, so you can share those presets by using a QR code. You can load from a QR code. So when you go to Facebook and you go to our Facebook and you go to our user groups, you'll see opportunities for yourself to to trade presets with other users of the same product. It's pretty cool, I gotta say. We can also change the patch level, which we don't need to do right at this moment. We can save. We can also make them active. So we can actually select which presets we actually want active so that we can toggle between them quickly. So what we can do is we can deselect a whole bunch of presets. So let's say I just want to go between preset 1 and preset 7 really quick. Just deactivate the other presets, and there you go. Simple as that. Okay, and I'm going to just focus on the I'm just going to focus on the things that are specifically set to the app first, and then I'll switch over to the desktop app, which will probably operate a little more cleanly. To the right of that, we have our drum machine, so we can turn the drums on and off very easily. You've got all the different types of drums here. Again, this is just to kind of get your feet wet. So you can change the tempo if you want to. So you can change the tempo either by using the tap button here on the app. You can also use the tap tempo here on the amp itself. Either way works. You can change it to, you can also EQ it if you want to. So you can give yourself here, I'll just do a couple of adjustments here. So we could go and that's not bad. We can go to electronica. That's always fun. Okay, so that's the little drum machine. It's very useful, and it's a lot of fun, actually. We go to the right of that, we have the jam tracks. Now, the jam tracks are the same that we see in the Mighty Space, and the same thing that we see on the Mighty Plug Pro. And these are really great studio quality tracks. I'll see if I can get one to play back a little bit here. So let's try playing one and see what happens. You might be able to hear it at this point. I'm not sure if you can or not. Let me know if you can. I'm not actually monitoring that just because I want to avoid a feedback loop. These are really great little studio quality demo tracks that we provide, and then the ones that our artists have they've provided, and you can also, of course, load in your own custom ones too. So you can load in, your favorite MP3 and jam along to it if you want to. There's a lot of, okay, thank you, Chris. Here's the really cool thing about the artist tracks is that there's little widgets to the right, and if you press on those widgets, it then takes you to the timeline, and this is where you can set up events along the timeline so that the preset will change as the song plays back, so that way you don't have to mess around with the presets. You can just have it do it all for you. And that's really, really great, because who wants to worry about changing presets? It's already hard enough to remember to turn on and off pedals when I'm playing live, but to have to start changing presets, I'm just going to go, completely nuts. So in this case, it's actually better that you just use the jam tracks and you set up those changes to happen along the timeline of the song, so it'll happen automatically and automated. And it's really a great feature because it just is going to make your playing and your experience with the product that much better, honestly. Okay, so there's that. Now, finally, there is the settings. We don't have to worry about that too much, and you might be thinking to yourself, why does this screen look a little different compared to mine? That's because this is the developer version of the app, but it works exactly the same. This just has a few extra bells and whistles for the developer side of things. But a couple things to point out here. Your USB audio settings, you can do all of this from the app, and I'll show you that. The desktop app, I mean. But you also have a tuner. You have a tuner built in. This is something that a lot of people ask for. They ask for a tuner with the Mighty Plug Pro. Well, there's one in there now. They ask for a tuner with the Mighty Space. It's there as well. It's part of the app. And this is where the arrogance of... It's not that people are arrogant. It's just that sometimes people say, oh, that's easy. You should just program that in. And, you know, they haven't programmed a word in their life or anything in a computer before, so clearly they didn't know what they're talking about. And, no, it's actually rather complicated to get a tuner working in this app in the way that would make sense for people. Because you have to remember that you're hooking up Bluetooth audio and Bluetooth MIDI both into this app from the phone. And sometimes things can go a little topsy-turvy. So putting in a tuner into that it's a little more difficult than people may think. But nevertheless, it's here now. You have your, you can change it to guitar compensated, you can be chromatic, you can do whatever you want with it. It's very cool, and it just makes it makes the whole experience that much better. But now at this point, I can see it's going a little, it's going a little crazy here. So let's see. I don't think there's any audio going on here at the moment. Ah, there it is. Okay, so, well, okay, you can't see it there because the iOS is messing up here a little bit. So I'm just going to switch over to the desktop app. And what I'll also do, just to see if I can fix this up a little bit, is I'm just going to stop mirroring here. All right. And you can probably now hear the demo track playing back. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so this should actually sound a little better. Yeah, sometimes I got a little, let's see, I got a little adventurous here and decided to try to get Bluetooth and everything else working at the same time along with the desktop app. Sometimes things can go a little funny, but not haha funny, but just like, what the hell just happened sort of funny. But now what we have is the app. So let's take a look at the desktop app itself here. So it's a very easy app to get around in. Let's bring up the guitar again. There you are. Okay, so let's talk about it from the perspective of the desktop app, okay, because this is a little different, although all the same functionality is there for the most part, except for like the jam tracks. But the tuner's here, so let's see, can you see the tuner? Yeah, you guys can see the tuner. So from here, you've got chromatic, you've got guitar standard, you've got guitar compensated, and you've got bass. You can change it from flowing display to standard display. You can mute it, obviously. But if we go back to, let's go to guitar standard and just play a quick note. Of course, it also helps if you have the volume turned on and the C5RC turned on. There it is. There it is. So that's the flowing display or a standard display. And you've got guitar standard and guitar compensated. Now, I can talk about those if you really want to know more about it. But guitar compensated is based on the James Taylor tuning, where you're basically making tiny little adjustments to the lower strings, so as you play harder, it still stays in tune. So it's really meant more for like acoustic guitars, in my opinion. But either way, it's a pretty cool thing because it does actually make you play and tune a little better depending on your playing style. So more on that later if you want. But let's talk about how to create a preset, because this is a really good opportunity to, let me switch to the bridge here. By the way, I'm using this groovy Spirit Steinberger. I really love this guitar. I've just come to really come to love to play this thing. Of course, if I played better right now, that'd be even better, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's talk about how to create a preset with the MightyLite BT Mark II and the app on your desktop. So you have your signal blocks here. So you've got your gate, effects, amp, impulse response, modulation, delay, and reverb. Pretty straightforward, all left to right. And unlike the other amps like the Mighty Plug Pro and the Mighty Space, you cannot move the signal blocks around, unfortunately. So that's not available to you to do. But again, it's a limitation of the DSP and the memory. Again, remember, it's a $99 practice desktop amp. I'm just saying. We can't give you everything. They can't all be zingers. But if you want to turn anything off or on, any of these blocks off or on, just simply right-click on it and it turns right on. Right-click on it again, turns it off. So let's go ahead and create a preset right from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and select an amp first. Now, if we go to the amps, you can't see the list here because of the way that OBS is displaying this right now, but we have a whole bunch of amps that are included. Like for example, we have a Tweed. We have a Tweed, we have the rectifier. But what we can do is we can change. Let's select something. We'll select something simple like say an 830, a nice Vox, and let's also make a couple of adjustments to the volume here, to the master, just to bring that a little more open here. Okay, so we also have a lot of impulse responses. Now, again, you can't see the list here, but this is the best part about working with these types of products, is that when you're working with amps and you're working with impulse responses, the impulse response is not linked. It's linked to the amp, but you're not married to that amp, to that impulse response. You can change it to anything you want. So if you wanted to, you could go, you can see right now it's set to a Vox A212, but if you wanted to go to, like, say, for some bizarre reason, you wanted to go to a rectifier 412, you can. Or if you wanted to go to a JC120, which that doesn't sound so great, but we could go to, I don't know, we could go to a Buddha 112. And you can see, you can hear, that each one of those has a totally different tonal characteristic. Now, I've seen a lot of other modeling amps where you select the amp and the cabinet is pre-selected for you, and that's it. You can't do anything else after that point. That's absolutely not the case here. In the case of our products, pretty much each and every time that you start selecting an amp, you can select a different cabinet to go along with it. So that just makes it all the better. And Slipperfish, yes, this software does come with the app, the amp. We don't show something that doesn't come with it unless we make it explicitly clear. So yes, the amp does include the application, absolutely. But in any case, from here we could go to the controls, and we can make changes to the gain. And yes, you can use this to record into Fruity Loop Studios. I know everybody always calls it FL Studios now, but I remember back when it was called Fruity Loops. Okay, so we're just going to make kind of a bare bone basic sort of preset here. All right, what I like to do then is I like to go to reverbs. Now, for the reverbs, we have a hall, we have room, we have plate. All right, so good question from Chris. Is the USB audio output stereo? Yes, absolutely. Because these are stereo effects. It should be. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm smoking crack there. I'll have to look at that, Chris, and see if I can get you an answer. I'm sorry about that. I don't have one for you yet. Okay. Okay, there's the delay. All right, that's mono. So maybe it's just the modulation. Yeah, there's where the stereo is coming from. It's coming from the modulation. Okay, there we go. All right, well, we'll go back to those in a minute. Let's go over to the effects block. Let's turn that effects block on, and let's go and select a different. You can see my mouse is going down, but there's a whole pop-up list here. But we can go to select, like, say, I don't know, Tube Screamer, if we wanted one of those. That'll do it. Okay, so we could use a Tube Screamer, and then we can make adjustments to the drive. Level, tone, all that good stuff. So here's what we had before. Here's what we have after. Hey, Chris, remember that conversation we were having about Tube Screamers? All right, all right. We have a Big Muff. Flipping a little bit there on the mixer. Okay, we also have, let's see, we have compression, but, you know, again, we don't have a compression for the, we don't have a separate compression block, but we do have a touch wah, and that's pretty cool. So if you were to go with that and then like go over to the amp and, I don't know, bring that master up a bit. What happened to my volume? Lost my volume. There it is. Okay, so we could do, I went to a bassmate there. Probably wasn't my best option. I don't know, go to a plexi. Oh, I see. Okay, the problem was the touch wah. I had the volume turned down on it too much. Okay, but we have like Univibe. That's a really nice sound. All right. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to something else here. We do have a phaser, which does sound really nice. I actually am going to go back to, that Tube Screamer. And now if I go back to the impulse response, you know what? I might actually change that to a Soldano. And one thing, of course, to keep in mind is as I'm doing all of this, make sure you save. because you don't want to lose your work. Now let's go over to modulation and let's see what's going on over here. So modulation, we've got our choruses, stereo chorus, vibrato. If we bring in like say a phase 90. Let's bring in the stereo chorus. Okay, that's definitely in stereo. Actually, I really like the way that sounds. I didn't mean to bring up 2112, but there you have it. Then there's also the delay. So let's go over to delay, and we have our selection of analog, digital, modulation. So I hope you're getting the point here is that there is so much here. Okay, I think Jorgen wanted to know about the impulse responses. Yes, there are plenty of impulse responses. There's about between 18 to 20 additional spaces for your own impulse responses to be loaded into the MightyLite BT Mark II. So that is available to you as well. Okay, so anyway, I have gone ahead and just made a mess out of this. So actually, I mean, it sounds pretty good, right? What do you guys think? Okay, try some other reverbs. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, I'll go over to reverb. I've got a spring reverb. Let's bring that up. Chris, I am a child of the 80s, and I am going to play 80s riffs, man. It's just the way it is. We got a damp reverb as well. But I promise I will not play any poison licks. Okay, we have a hall reverb. But I might play rap. Okay, what reverbs are included? We don't see the pull down. I know you guys can't see the pull down. You have a room, you have a hall, you have a plate, you have a spring, you have a damp. So you've got 5 reverbs to play with. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Now, let's go over to the settings. So here are the settings that you get with the MightyLite BT Mark II. So you can set up your recording level for USB recording, because you can use this as a USB audio interface. So as we were talking about Slippery Fish, yes, you can use this as a USB-C audio interface for any DAW that you're working with. And it's really, really great because, you know, it just saves you a step. I mean, you don't have to mic up the amp or anything like that at all. You can just go right into your app, and it's just going to sound probably the cleanest it can possibly sound, which I think is fantastic. There are some people, I get these questions all the time on, the various YouTube channels is, you know, if I'm using like say an MG30, do I have to use an audio interface along with it? No, of course not. It's a USB-C audio interface. Just plug it in and use it along with Pro Tools or Logic or GarageBand, and you're going to get a clean sound. Otherwise, what's happening is it's going D to A outside of the MG30. Then you're bringing it over to an analog interface, and it's going A to D again. So you're doing an unnecessary D to A and A to D conversion. And when you do that, you're going to get this little thing called noise in the background, and you don't want that. So if you're going USB-C all the way, then it's clean and pristine. No caffeine. Or maybe it does. I don't know. But in any case, okay, now I'm getting a little more loose because things are moving a little cleaner now. And so in any case, you've got that option. But the other option you have is reamping. And this is so cool. And I absolutely need to do a video about this. I've done one for the MG300. I've done one for the MG30. I haven't really done, and I think I did one for the Mighty Plug Pro. But here's the thing. So for those of you who are not in the know on what reamping is, it's not a new technology. Reamping's actually been around for a very, very, very long time. And with reamping, what you do is, with reamping, you can take a track that's been previously recorded. So like a guitar track you recorded and, you know, it sounds okay, but you listen back to it and you go, God, if it just had a little bit more edge to it. Well, what you can do is you can set up the MightyLite BT Mark II or any of our amps pretty much that have this kind of connectivity to it, and you can use it as a reamping device where you can reprocess that track through the amp and then re-record it onto another track in your DAW. So you go from a track that sounds like this to like that, and it is utterly amazing when it works. I mean, when you get something that just sounds beautiful, gosh, I can't even tell you. I mean, you can take like the most lifeless track and you can just breathe a whole new meaning into it. And it just is amazing to listen to it. It's so much fun. But that is here. And if you want to record a track that has no processing on it whatsoever, you can do that with dry out. And you could then reamp it afterwards if you want to. Now, the other thing too is we have a loopback feature built in here. And loopback is really great for the guys who do live streaming, because with reamping, with loopback, it just simply loops the audio back into your stream so that you can hear it, your audience can hear it as well, all at once. So if you're working on, say, like Instagram Live or something like that, then you have that ability to do it. So, and eventually we will be on Instagram Live a lot more often when we get authorized for Instagram Producer Live, or I think it's called Instagram Live Producer. I forget which one it's called. But in any case, once we get to that point, I can actually stream in vertical out of here right into Instagram. I'll be able to do that. So, okay, here's a really good question. Okay, is reamping just for dry tracks? From Doug. Okay, so Doug, no. Reamping is for anything you want. Anything. Okay, you could reamp, let's say it's a processed track, and you recorded it, you know, a couple of years ago, and it thought back then it sounded really good, and it had a Fender on it or something, and you were just like, oh, okay, this is all right. But you're listening back to it and you go, God, what would it sound like if I just added a little more crunch to it, or added a little bit more oomph? You know, maybe I've got this really great preset I set up inside of the MightyLite, and I want that to be processed on this track. That's exactly what reamping is for. You can then reprocess the track and then re-record it onto another track, so that you have your old and your new take. So yes, you can layer it as much as you want to. Or if you really wanted to get, you know, a little avant-garde, what you could also do is you could listen to a vocal track, right? Think about it. It doesn't have to, just because we're talking about guitars here, guitar, it's all, you can also do bass, you can do vocals, you can do keyboards, you can do any of that stuff. Anything that you've processed, you could treat the MightyLite BT, or the plug for that matter, you could treat it like a plugin if you want to. Plugins are such a deep rabbit hole to go down that it's always kind of scary when people start talking about plugins, because once you start buying plugins, man, it's like when you buy pedals, it just doesn't stop and it just keeps going no matter what you do. So it's the same thing here for pedals and all that. But the thing is that with the MightyLite BT, you've got all of that stuff in there. So let's say you're listening back to a vocal track and say, you know, it'd be really cool if I could put this through some vocal process. I could put some processing of some sort, like an amp, or put it through a phaser or something like that. Reamping. You can reamp it right in there, and you can put it through a cabinet. You can put it through, I don't know, flanger. You can put it through delays, reverbs, overdrives, whatever. I mean, there's really no limitation. One of the things I do is I use the MG400. I did this with the MG300. One of my most popular videos on my channel is when I used the MG300 as a vocal processor. That blew people's minds because they were like, holy crap, you could do that? I'm like, yeah, it just requires an impedance converter. That's all you need to do, right? So you could do you just plug in a dynamic mic to an impedance converter, go into the input of any of our products for that matter, and there you go. You got a vocal processor. Simple as that. All right. Okay, so Chris asked a question here. Okay, what are the major differences and upgrades compared to the MightyLite BT Mark I? Okay, well, because I'm going to change gears here in a second and go, because we've kind of explored that as much as we need to right now. I want to show you guys the hook in the 65 Overdrive. So to answer your question, the main difference is an upgraded DSP, first and foremost. So that means more amps, more cabinets, more effects, the ability to load in impulse responses, the individual signal blocks that you could turn off and on. You get a lot more in here than you did with the updated jam tracks, the included tuner. That's some of it. And then of course also it's made for electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and bass guitar. So you get all of that in one shot. And that's what it's really all about. So let me disconnect here for a second. I'm going to actually move to my Telecaster for this next batch, or my PV equivalent of a Telecaster, and then we'll answer some more questions as we get along here. All right, there we go. Cool. All right. So anyway, we're going to move to the next part of this demo. So in order to do that, I actually have to do a quick intermission so that I can go to it from there. So hang with me for the next few minutes. And of course, if you have questions, let's see, anything like that. Okay, there we go. So if you have questions, just keep asking them. They will show up on the chat and I will answer them. And once I'm done with the demo of the 65 Overdrive and the hook, I'm absolutely going to circle back to answer some of the other questions about the MightyLite BT Mark II, or any other questions you might have, because I did see a few there that we definitely want to answer for you guys. Okay, so I will see you guys in just a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back. So you can see that things have changed here as well a little bit. We have our We have our pedals here all set up. We're going to be concentrating on the 65 Overdrive and the hook. I've got them mounted on my trusty Bumblebee pedal board here. I also have a couple other pedals down here at the bottom. I've got the, and there's my toes. I have the damp reverb, and I have the pulse impulse response loader mini pedals loaded up as well, so that we can do some, we can have a little fun with that. Philip, I see your question, and I have moved away from the Mighty Lite at this point for today, but that doesn't mean that we can't come back to it down the road. If we have time today, I'll see if we do. If not, we will. I will absolutely be doing a lot of videos to show you what you can do with the acoustic side of all of our amps. In fact, I have all of the amps here and that do electric, acoustic, and bass, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of video content on that in the very, very near future. So do stay tuned for that. Okay. But in any case, looking here at the Mighty Lite, I'm sorry, I've had the Mighty Lite BT stuck in my head all day. Actually, let's move over there. There we go. That's the angle I wanted. Anyway, have you guys heard? Well, you had to have heard the 65 Overdrive by now. It has been a whole bunch of videos on this in the last couple of weeks, and we also have the hook drum and loop pedal here, and I'm going to show you how all that works right now. Now let's talk about the 65 Overdrive really quick. So the 65 Overdrive is an emulation of the Fender Black Panel. So you get those nice glassy tones that Fender's known for. And it works great for, humbuckers, and it works great for single coils. It doesn't really matter. Either way, it's going to work out. But it's a great sounding pedal. And let me just show you the ins and outs of it really quick. So we have our level, we have our gain, we have our bass, and we have our treble. Now in the back, we also have a trim for the saturation. So what you want to do in that case is you want to get yourself a neat little jeweler's screwdriver, and then you can go in the back there and you can make adjustments to it. So I could go to the saturation trim and go ahead and just make the adjustments there. And what I might do in a minute is just play a couple of notes, make those adjustments so you can hear what it sounds like. And it just increases the saturation on the gain control. So if you've got it really reefed hard and then you like turn the gain all the way up on the pedal, it's going to overdrive like crazy, and it's very punchy sounding. You'll hear it in the next couple of minutes. But I wanted to set something up that was really, really bare bones basic, because I didn't want to go over the top here. I think people sometimes with pedal demos go a little too far with it when they see it layered with a bunch of other crap, and it's like, well, hang on, I just want to hear the pedal itself. So what I did in this case is I set up the 65 Overdrive. I sent it to the damp reverb, and I sent it over to the pulse pulse IR loader. This is the mini IR loader. I have to really do a video about this specifically, this pedal, because I think, frankly, the way that it's being discussed on our, at least in the videos that I've seen, I saw like Sean Pierce Johnson did a really great demo on it. He gets it. Our friend here, Chris Butler, he absolutely gets it. He understands what it's all about, and the possible the stereo possibilities of it. And we're going to be exploring that, because I've actually created a pedal board back here that I will demo in the near future to show you what you can do to create like this fly rig sort of idea. And then all of that is going into the hook, drum, and loop, which I'll talk about now. So the hook, drum, and loop. This is a mini looper and drum machine, and it is so easy to use. Let's talk about first where it goes in the signal chain. Because it's got a drum machine, if you don't intend to use the drum patterns, you can put this basically wherever you want to be. This is a phrase looper, okay? And what that means is that once you turn it off, it's gone. Okay, you lose that phrase. It's not stored with the looper. But you can load your own loops into it if you want to. If you're connected to a computer, you've got a phrase you want to bring in and then loop on top of it, you can do that. Or if you want to export what you've worked on, there's a USB-C port on there, you just pop it right in. There's an editor you can download for free right from our website. How about that? Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Come on, guys, give me a what? I got to know you're still alive out there, everybody. All right, so I will show you how all of it works now. Finishing that thought, but I put the hook all the way to the end of the signal chain. The reason I did that is because I'm going to be using the drum patterns. If I use the drum patterns and it's placed all the way at the beginning of the signal chain, then that means those drums are going to again go through the 65 overdrive, the damp, and the pulse, and probably will sound pretty horrible. So in this case, what we've done is we have put it all the way to the end so that you can record a nice affected loop and then go from there, right? So it's pretty great. But imagine this, if you will. This setup that I'm showing you, you could literally put this in a gig bag and you could take it with you to a gig without having to schlep around an amp if you really wanted to. And you can add to that even more. You could go to you could get like a Plexi Crunch if you wanted to, the Steel Singer, all of the reissue pedals for that matter, and you get this whole palette of preamps that can then go through a reverb and then go through an impulse response loader. And you can get something completely different that I think sounds pretty cool myself. Okay, let's go ahead and let's bring everything in. Okay. We're in reasonable tune here, but let's just make sure. Little tuner never hurt anybody, right? You know what I should do when I'm tuning up? I should do a question. I should ask a question of everybody while I'm doing this and saying, okay, so like while I'm tuning up, man, like what's the album that you've been listening to lately? What's the band that you've been really geeking out on? Because I'm gonna guess for Chris, it's probably Jellyfish, because he really loves that. He really loves that band. Believe it or not, for me, and this is don't laugh too hard. But you know what? I don't care if you do. Go ahead and laugh. I've had this whole kick on Steve Winwood lately. I've just been all about Steve Winwood. The guy is truly an underrated player in just about every which way, because people always think of him as a keyboard player, but he's actually an amazing guitar player. He's really proficient, and I mean, come on, he's just a brilliant songwriter on top of all of that. So why don't you guys let me know what you think? Because, yeah, I was right. Chris is all about the Jellyfish. Okay, so this sounds pretty... Okay, so it sounds pretty sparse. Now, there's a reason for that. Let's go back to the camera. Hello. There we are. It sounds pretty sparse, and the reason is because I haven't turned on any impulse response. So let me just go here. So I can turn on the impulse response, and I want to go to the Vox here, or I could go over to the reverb, the Fender Reverb amp cabinet. If I want to make it a little more cavernous, I can just go to the I can go over to the damp and turn that on. Sorry. little bit of tuning fun there. I've been really working on my intonation lately and really focusing on not over gripping with my left hand. Sometimes I tend to get really aggressive with it. And when I'm playing really hard with the right, sometimes I'll just hold down the left even more. And the problem with that is that intonation, it just goes out the window at that point. But my theory has always been, if it doesn't sound good with an open E, then it really isn't that great of a, guitar. So, and this is actually by the way, a PV. This is a PV generation series. So this is an old Telly copy that they made in the 90s. That I love PV guitars in the early 90s. They were really great sounding guitars. Okay, anyway, let's get to it. So I am using a little bit of reverb, and I'm definitely using a Fender impulse response here, but I want to get back up to the 65 here. So the 65, let's turn that up. It's actually not the output from the pedal that's the problem. It is from the pulse. Yeah. So see how it's nice and punchy. If I go to the neck pickup, let's pull the gain all the way back there though, but just listen to that. So I really love the way it sounds. The bass, the treble. Typically, I like to actually pull the bass back, and I like to make it a little more nasally. Just kind of my approach to it. And of course, if you top that off with a little more reverb. Let's see, I'm going to go to a plate. Or I'll go to a spring. Let's go full Fender, right? Go back to the bridge pickup. Or if you wanted to go for kind of that John Lennon sort of sound. Just really beautiful sound out of that damp. I love the damp. It drips. Chris, if you're wondering if it drips, it drips. So if you wanted to go all Dick Dale, you could do it for sure. And the other great thing, of course, is you've got the hold for surprise. So I know you can't see it, but if you hold down you can hold that. You can hold the foot switch down on the damp, and you get that nice sustain. And if you change it to like, let's see, if you go to the plate, it's a totally different sound. Get that nice shimmer. Okay, I am going to go to there. Okay. I do really love that. Okay, let's get back to the 65 though, because I want to move over to the hook here in a second. So here's kind of the palettes of sound. So right now the gain is like really low. Like it's very tiny. That's just give it a little edge. Move it back to the bridge pickup. Just a little, right? But let me see if I can manage to do this with. Okay, or are we going for like say 3 o'clock? Okay, so you get the point. Well, let's see if I can manage this one. This one's going to be this one's going to be fun. Okay, I'm going to stick a screwdriver here back here, and I am going to try to see if I can do this with 2 hands here. Okay, so if you can't see anything except my hairy arm, just bear with me for a second. What I'm doing is I'm messing with the saturation here. So let me turn that gain all the way up. So that's all the way down. All the way up. So let's turn it back a little bit more that way. We get a nice breakup sound. And of course, if I kill the mic, so a little bit of fun there. Okay, so that's the 65 Overdrive. Now, you may not be aware, of what the 65 is all about, but I mean the reissue series in general from us. But the reissue series is like one of our most underrated series of pedals because they're only $50 a piece. They start at $50, so you get a Bogner. You get a Bogner, you get a rectifier, you get a plexi, you get a steel string singer, you get and now the 65 Overdrive, and those are all like what, they start at $50 each, and then we have the chorus and the delay, which are both analog, and those are starting at $60 each, and they're full metal pedals all the way through, and that just makes it even better. So if you're looking for something, for a new tone and you got some money burning a hole in your pocket, it's a great way to go. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris. The XTC is amazing. It's nice and meaty. I really love the way that thing sounds. Okay, but let's move on to the hook. And the hook is let's move back to that camera there. Hey. Okay, so the hook is a drum and loop machine. So here's the basic layout of the pedal. You've got your input, you've got your output. There is a headphone output on the side here, so you can do silent practicing if you want to. You have it requires a power port. That's obvious. There's a USB-C port so that you can load in your own phrase loops if you want to, or you can export whatever you're working on. You can export it and then use it in a DAW if you'd like to. There are several different styles here to choose from. At the top, you've got your drums. You've got smart tap tempo, so I can just start playing right here. I have control for the volume of the drums. If I want to change the tempo, just start pressing the tap tempo in succession. Very straightforward. If I want to stop it, I can stop it. You have your loop level, and this is for any loops that you record. You have 2 versions. You have auto record, and you have auto record and standard record. So auto record is really fantastic because you can just go ahead and record whenever it detects a signal. So it makes it a little easier to work with for some people. It just depends on what your preference is on all of that. Personally, I like auto record. It makes my life a little easier, especially when I'm just trying to layer a bunch of sounds on top of each other, which I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second here. So we're gonna do a little bit of layering here in a second. But the thing about looping, and this is the thing that's kind of more of the philosophy of looping, if you will. So, you know, the philosophy of looping is this. You know, some people will do just one loop and call it a day and that's it. But I never do that. I always do like a whole series of loops. And I'll do like a loop over a loop over a loop over a loop. And when you're working with something like the hook, you got to remember that you just have that one loop track, right? And you can layer as much as you want on top of it, and then you can undo and you can redo the last take. So it goes back one level and makes the whole looping experience much easier. But the thing to keep in mind is keep an eye on your volumes, because you want it to sound good when you do it. So it's like practicing a song at home with a band. It's the same idea here. You have to watch your levels when you're looping so that everything layers nicely and makes sense. So for example, this first loop I'm going to record, actually doesn't require an impulse response at all, because I'm just going to put a very small, let me go back to this view here. I'm just going to put a small loop, and then I'm going to do a bass line where I'll use the bassman IR, go to the neck position, and bring the tone down a little bit to make it a little more bass-like, and then record another guitar track on top of it just to have a little fun. Something like, probably use the, and each one of those I'll be using a different setting on the gain. So if we get up to, say 12 o'clock, and then use the damp, and get that sustained sound. Something like that. Anyway, we'll try it. But in any case, if you want to start recording, just simply press, and you can see that it's blinking. That's because we're in auto record mode, so it's waiting for a signal. So I'll just do this just to do it. So I'll just record a quick loop in just to, well, you can see it's already doing it because it detects it. So you do need to make sure that you are keeping an eye on that. Double tap to start, to stop, and then press and hold, and that will erase it. So what we can do is, let's try just recording something really quick. So 2, 3, 4. Now we can turn the drums on, and hopefully it will detect the tempo. How about that? But we can also stop, and we can just erase it. And now you can see that the LED for the drum machine is now up here at the top, and it's turned on. That means it's when I go into auto record mode, it's going to start playing the drums back as soon as I start recording and looping. So you have to kind of keep that tempo in mind. So 2, 3, 4. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and try to record another loop now, and I'll use the neck pickup. So what I'm now using is I'm using the pulse with the bassman, and I'm in the neck position. I've turned the tone all the way down on my guitar so it's a little bassy-like, and now I'm going to go ahead and overdub. 2, 3, 4. let's say I don't like that. It's okay. But if I don't like it, I can just press and hold. And I get that undo. But then I think again, well, you know what? Actually, I did like it. Press and hold again. And now there it is. It's back, right? So at this point, what I'll do is I will turn up. I'll go to my. I'll go to the bridge position on the guitar. I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit. I'm also going to turn the level up on the. I'm going to turn the level up on the damp reverb, and I'm going to switch to a different impulse response on the pulse. Get kind of a country-ish sort of sound. And let's see what we got. Okay, so I can already tell you I didn't like that, so I can just go ahead and erase it. That's what I'm looking for, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try it again. Get it ready. So it's in overdub mode now at this point. 2, 3, 4. So now we have a nice, let's see, let me turn that down. Turn that back. Okay, so now you hear we've got a nice layer, right? We've got chords, we've got a little bass, we've got a little rhythm guitar over it, and at this point now we can turn it on and I can start soloing over it if I wanted to. So I can reef the 65 all the way up. Go to a totally different impulse response. And, you know, solo on E if you want to. So I'll just go ahead and get that drum loop going. And then figure out where we want the volumes to be and then have a little fun with it, right? That's what it's all about with looping. So that's the basic idea of the loop. At which point, if you want to start, you know, embellishing on it a little bit more and start doing all kinds of other weird things with it, you know, again, it's just like with reamping. There's really no limitation into what you can do with the hook loop. But we just started shipping these. Let's go ahead and pull that out there. We just started shipping these a couple of days ago, and thus far, you know, people have been really excited about it because the hook, the JTC Mini, which is the predecessor to the hook, has actually been out of production for quite some time now. So now we have a replacement for it that people are really excited about, and I think it will do, you know, I think it's going to do exceptionally well. There we go, back there. Okay, so in any case, that's pretty much what I'm going to be, that's what I've demoed today. And I'm going to now go through the chat here. I'm going to look for some questions and try to bring some stuff up here. So bear with me, everybody. I'm going to scroll all the way back up and see what's going on here. See if there's any extra questions I can answer about it. So if you guys are out there in a live, let me know. This is a good time to start asking those questions. Let's see where we are at this point. We've got 11 people watching. So, you know, hang out. Ask some questions. This is a good time to do it. Okay? Let's go. All right, so go to the top here. Oh, okay, there we go. Right. Got these new tricks and everything. Okay. Okay, here's a good question that Chris asked. Okay, how does this compare with the Mighty Air? Well, the Mighty Air, keep in mind the Mighty Air is a few years old at this point, so it is a different version of TSAC. This is an updated TSAC, which is our audio algorithm, and it's a bit different. It's a bit updated, and yeah, there definitely will be an audible difference between the Mighty Air and this one. This is more in line with what you see with like the Mighty Plug Pro. It's the same, I believe it's the same TSAC that comes with the Mighty Plug Pro. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, we're just going to go through these. I didn't see that many, so we'll just we'll do oh, okay, so acoustic guitar, please. I promise that I will circle back and do some content on the acoustic side of the Mighty series. And it's not just the Mighty Lite BT, you know, it's also the Mighty Plug Pro has acoustic amps built into it. The Mighty Plug has acoustic amps built into it. Yeah, how about that? I don't know if you guys knew that or not. The Mighty Space back there has it. The Mighty Air, they all have that in there. So yes, be happy to go back and do some videos on that. And of course, I'd also like to go back and do a series of videos on the Stageman amps themselves, because I don't think that they've honestly been talked about enough, and they're actually exceptional acoustic amps. Speaking of exceptional acoustics, I've got one hanging back there, a brand new company called Bodhi Guitars, I'm happy to be playing those for the videos. These are very affordable guitars that just hit the market, and they make cajones as well, and they're really nice actually. So yeah, you'll definitely see some acoustic material from me in the near future to show off the products. Okay, so let's see. Other questions. Oh, okay. I see a question from you, Philip. Availability. Can I speak to availability in Europe? I can say that it's shipping worldwide now. All three of the products I've shown today are all shipping worldwide. So they should be available in Europe before too long. The place you find them easily would be Amazon. It would be Thomann. Those would be the easiest places to get to. In Europe, I'm just not familiar with all the European dealers out there. You just have to forgive me. But here in the United States, we have several dealers that have already placed their pre-orders, and they're getting their products as we speak. And I might tell you guys, just to tell you, this is just scraping the surface of what's coming up. We still have all the core pedals. We showed those at NAMM, so it's not a great secret. We have the core pedals coming. We have the Mighty 8 BT coming. The Mark II of that is coming, and it's going to have the same DSP that you see with the MightyLite BT Mark II. What else? Obviously the Trident. I know a lot of people have been asking about the Trident. We did a live stream on that a couple of weeks ago and went off without a hitch, and I love the Trident. I am absolutely enamored with it. It is so much fun to work with. I've just been completely floored by how much cool stuff you can do with it. But we also need to turn and focus on the other, the other products as well. So I will be, the legacy products. We don't want to forget about the MG30, obviously. That's one of our bread and butter SKUs, and we don't want to forget about the MG300, nor will we. They're really great. Anyway, okay, I know I went way off the reservation there on that answer, but Philip, I hope that answers your question. Yes, it will be available in Europe very, very shortly. We wouldn't be doing these live streams if it wasn't really going to be available soon. I think the only exception to that is probably the Trident, because the Trident's been delayed just a little bit due to a manufacturing issue that's being worked out now. Like we're missing one part, and we're getting it now. We can do it a couple weeks later. So we have that coming up. We even have another guitar wireless product coming up that I can't say anything about right now, but it's a guitar wireless product. It's going to be pro level. It's going to be something it's definitely going to turn some heads. And there's more stuff on the way. We're revamping the entire line of Mighty amps, the 20, the 40, and there will probably be a 60 as well. They may all be available this year. There's so many things coming at this point. So absolutely, there's going to be so much. It's going to be so much fun. That's one of the reasons I stick around here. This is just a great job. It really is. Okay, let's go back further up here. Let's see. Dave, hi, how are you doing? I hope you had Had a good time. I love Wales. I've been to Wales. I hung out there. When I was an exchange student in England, I was living in the UK as an exchange student all the way back there in the 90s. I'll put it this way: Happy Gilmore was a brand new movie. That's how long it's been. And we spent weekends traveling around the UK on rail passes. Ones where you had to actually write the dates in on the passes, if you can recall that. And we spent a couple weekends in Wales, in Bath. Didn't make up to Bangor, but wanted to. And what a beautiful part of the country it is. I just love it. It's fantastic. Some of the best Indian food I've ever had, by the way, was in Wales. It was Balti. Oh, so good. This is rad. I'm glad you like it, Slippery Fish. I hope you get a chance to check this out. Let's see. Oh, okay. Upbeat Beacon said he can hear the jam track faintly. I want to address that really quick. So the thing to keep in mind with the MightyLite, BT, the Plug Pro, the Air, all that, is when you're transmitting from your phone to those products, you're doing it with Bluetooth audio and you're doing it with Bluetooth MIDI. So you have to make both of those connections. And you have to work with the volumes a little bit. There's a way inside the app to turn the volume up on the Bluetooth playback. And I just didn't fine tune any of that before I got started because I really had no intention of jamming along to the song in that regard. I was going to do it old school like I did with the Mighty Plug Pro when I did that live stream, but I decided it was better to not do that this time around and to just try something a little different this time, which kind of unfortunately crashed and burned a little bit there, but you know, that happens. But no problem there, but you can get it as loud as you want, really. Okay. Oh, and the backing tracks were glitchy. Yes, there was another reason for that too, because I was using a product called Let's View on my PC along with my iPhone, and the audio from the jam track was actually going through there to my board on a separate channel, and it was a nightmare to try to figure that out. But that's why it was glitchy, because you're dealing with OBS, and OBS is sometimes a little wanky when it comes to that stuff. Okay. Okay, here was one I wanted to get to. So Canal, the OTA, are you planning to release a new Mighty Air 2? No, we don't have any plans at this time to do another Mighty Air at the moment. The Mighty Air in its current form is still a very strong seller, and it's a great amp, and it's a lot of fun to work with. But we don't have any plans on creating a new version of that now. That might change, like say in 2024, but I've looked at most of the plans so far, guys, and I haven't seen them yet. So I haven't seen the Mighty Air Mark II coming up on any plans. So no, I don't think you've got anything to worry about there. It's still very, very current and will be for a while. Okay, let's see. Okay, Slippery Fish asked about software that comes with the MightyLite BT. Yes, the editor comes with the product. So everything I showed today on the live stream, yes, it all came from there. And it's all included. Let's see. I'm just looking through the list here of the questions here. Okay, well, I answered this question earlier. Was the amount of impulse responses that are available inside of the MightyLite. Yes, you have a lot of room to play with there. Let's see. Okay, a lot of questions here that I answered earlier. Okay. So Philip, I answered this question earlier. Yes, I will do a demo soon to show you how to use it with an acoustic guitar. Let's see. Sorry, I shouldn't be like sticking there. Like that looks like really stupid, doesn't it? Yeah, there's a big long thing here from Chris about using the pulse on the pulse in a stereo fashion. That's the thing about this, about the mini core pedals. The bulk of the mini core pedals, the new versions, is that a lot of it is a lot of these are stereo now. So you can do that. You can use it in stereo with synthesizers and all that. So it actually releases a lot of different opportunities for mixing potential. It's a lot of fun to work with. Okay, some reason the text is really, really tiny, so you have to forgive me here. Let's see, looking at the product pages, I would say the MightyLite BT Mark II is like a single speaker version of the Mighty Air, minus the built-in wireless and rechargeable battery. That's, you know, that's a fair assessment. It doesn't have wireless, it's mono, not stereo. If you hold the two up against each other, you can see that the speaker is slightly bigger on the Mighty Lite BT compared to the Mighty Air. So yeah, they're sizable. There are differences as far as the physical differences between the two. Yes, there are some there. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just going through the list here and see if there's any other questions. Yeah, yeah. So in this case, yes. When I was doing this little setup down here at the bottom, yes, I was putting the 65 overdrive to the pulse with a spring reverb, and then over to the spring reverb on the damp over to the pulse. Now I don't know if you guys know this or not. Let me unselect that for a second. I don't know if you know this or not, but you actually have the space control on the pulse, and with the space control, you can actually put in its own natural reverb, so room reverb. It dictates the space between the microphone and the speaker cone that it's the impulse response. So you're creating a distance there, and if you turn the space all the way up, you get a nice natural reverb sound in the room. And you could do that with the pulse simply by pressing and holding the foot switch, and it changes modes, and at that point then you can introduce space into the overall sound if you want to. And it's great because if you don't have a reverb pedal by itself, you can use that as kind of a makeshift reverb. And then once you're ready with it, just go ahead and click, and there you press your foot switch there, and there you go, you're good. So little tip and trick there for you. Okay, let's see. Okay, Steel Singer is John Nathan Corey's favorite budget analog Dumble style pedal. He's a beast and he likes it, not just because it's affordable. Well, that's good to know. You know, as a dealer, when I was pedal guy as a dealer, I was selling so many of those bloody things at one point. It was crazy when it first came out, because the second you say Steel Singer, people automatically know it's a Dumble. And we really did, it's back there somewhere, we really did go to great lengths to make it look, we really did go to great lengths to make it look, you know, like a steel singer with a steel string singer with the text and the logo and the font and all of that. I think Vertex was a little pissed about that one though, but I think the guy at Vertex did a great video that really did a good A/B difference between the two pedals, because it looked like a clone at first, but really when you start listening to both of the pedals, they really did sound quite a bit different from each other. And you know, Vertex, to their credit, makes some amazing stuff. I really love the boutiquiness of their products, and I think he's a completely underrated builder, frankly. His stuff is amazing. Let's see. Okay. Okay, here's a one here. Okay, like a single, I would want the single large speaker of the MightyLite BT rather than two small drivers. What would be killer? Well, you know, the easiest way to get to there is the Mighty Space. I hate to say it, but the Mighty Space is the next best way to get there, Chris, because it's a It's a stereo. It's a stereo amp. It's got larger drivers in it, and it's just got a heavenly sound to it. And it also doubles up as an amp head, so you can plug it into a cabinet and have your way with it. It sounds pretty cool. Yeah, the Vertex. Yeah, he said he completely didn't realize that the two pedals have different circuits. That's right. But again, you know, people judge a book by its cover, and they look at the way it looks and it goes, oh, that must be a clone of the Steel Singer. And you know, like this is like the 65 Overdrive is a clone of a we call it inspired by the other pedal. I forget what it's called because I never had a chance to even use that one, but it was extremely expensive. But in any case, yeah, that is inspired by a different manufacturer as well. But at the same time, it's, you know, it's development. This is what we do in development. Like lately, I've been seeing some guys coming up with. I've been seeing people come up with these with a cable-free guitar, I think is the name of the company. They have this really inexpensive wireless system that they're advertising on Facebook a lot. They're advertising on YouTube, not on YouTube, but Facebook, Instagram, and my other obsession, Candy Crush. And they're advertising it heavily right now. It's $89 and everything, but it's like, well, yeah, but you know, you're saying you get what you pay for. You don't be surprised if it, you know, craps out on you. But nevertheless, it's what it is. It's no big deal. But yeah, anyway, okay, so the Mighty Space is a jump in price and size and weight. Yeah, well, you know, again, it's one of those guys. To be honest, I don't know what I care about since it internally does stereo for headphones and for recording. Yeah, well, I mean, there is that, right? And it's, you know, for $99, honestly, you can't go wrong. I think this is going to be, you know, it's going to just take off nicely as the original one did. I remember when the original one came out, the original Mighty Lite came out, and it has been a strong little seller for us for years now. And this new one will probably take its place rather nicely, and I think it'll be a really strong seller for the day, for the you know, for the money. I think these days as a business right now, I mean, you know, not to open the kimono too much here, but you know, as a business right now, NUX, we're having a great growth here in the United States since last year, post-COVID. It's been exceptionally strong, and I feel incredibly blessed to be part of it. I have a great team of reps out there that do an amazing job for us, and I appreciate everything they're doing. And they all drink the Kool-Aid. You know, they know that this is a brand they need to get behind, and they're great at impressing that on dealers. And we are at Guitar Center with 7 SKUs across all stores, which is fantastic. Oh, you never heard that phrase before, Chris? But the company is doing great at the moment when the economy is a little in flux at the moment and things are a little questionable out there. Not because of anything we're doing or not doing, but there are a lot of companies I know right now that are not doing nearly as well in this regard as we are. And that's because, well, you know, we're kind of seen as the new kids on the block, even though we're not really. We've been around since a long time now as NUX. Go back to the 90s as far as Cherub goes, and we're still going strong. So it's all good in my book. But in any case, yeah, that's what we got. So anyway, I think at this point we're pretty much covered everything I need to cover here for today's live stream. I want to do more of these going forward, but obviously doing them for 2 hours is kind of hard to do. So we might, you know, start doing these more often. I know I've got a whole bunch of new stuff planned for content for both the Pedal Guy channel and for the NUX channel. So there'll be a lot of stuff coming in the very near future on both sides of things. So I hope you will subscribe to both of the channels. If you joined us from the Facebook feed, I hope you'll forgive us for the problem that we had today. It wasn't us. It was Facebook this time. There was a app that wasn't working, an API that wasn't working right, and it turned into a bit of a fiasco. So I just went ahead and turned that off and canceled the event there. But nevertheless, the other thing too is, yeah, I mean, Chris is bringing up a good point here, and I'll just bring it up here. Is that we do listen to customers in the groups. We do listen to customers in our Facebook groups. And Christopher is one of those good examples of, he came up with a great idea, he pitched it, and the next thing you know, we put it into the AMP Academy. It was one of his ideas. It's a really good one too, by the way. But in any case, yeah, there you have it. But hey, listen, thank you very much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it as always, and I look forward to our next session. I'm not sure what we'll do yet, but we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll talk about the amps. Maybe we'll do something with, well, we have to keep doing things with the Trident, obviously, as we're waiting for it to show up. And we'll keep chugging along on that. At some point, I'm going to do something with the drums. I don't know when we'll do that, but it will happen. It's not as easy as it sounds because I'm not a drummer. So I'd have to literally do something here where I'd bring a drummer in, and we'd have to do some, do the whole thing here live. And it could be a little problematic, but I think we could do it. It's just a matter of trying to plan it out and everything. But here's the cool thing. I'll tell you this one really fast, is that we did just sign a lease for a new office here in the US. We won't move in until next year, but it's got more than enough space to have a full-on YouTube studio in there. Well, we'll be able to do live streaming out the wazoo. So we'll be able to do plenty of live streaming for drums and for pianos and all the other things that we make, because it's not just about the guitars. We do all of this other stuff. But in any case, thank you very much again for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you down the road.